Well, hello. Welcome to Malibu, California, where we're on vacation all the time.
Definitely.
I have Paola here with me. We've been working together how long now?
Oh man, it's going on a month now.
Is that it?
Is that it? Yeah.
So yeah, we've been about a month. We have weekly calls.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember who you were there when you started working with me? Actually, before you started working with me.
Before I started working,
Yes.
yeah. Yes, I still do. I still remember like, have been in a weird transitional place in my life and like not wanting coming back to the US, but like, having these second thoughts about it, like eat, pray, love journey and having to give that up and just like that's kind of where I was right before I met you. Um and knowing that I wanted to go on some sort of journey and ready to go on some sort of journey. And then I think when I met you, I remember being somebody who couldn't even answer a simple question. So, yeah.
You mean about like what you wanted?
What I want, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you said what country were you in before that?
I was in Mexico.
You're in
I was
Mexico.
in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting how I met you. I think it was, during like the interview process for a specific role that I thought it would take a few months to like really go through. And then during those months, I had envisioned this like, like journey for myself where I traveled all through Mexico and, you know, um, no time almost, I like everything kind of fast forwarded and brought me back a little bit. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to put a pause on this and like do it some other time.
So you were at a fork road and you had a choice to join a startup
Hmm.
or go on an Eat, Pray, Love journey. And so
Yeah.
why did you feel called to join a startup and go back more to traditional work?
I think the like analytical side of me, the logical side of me was like especially seeing like the economy, how it is now with all the layoffs and everything. It's just like that sense of, like the security that's kind of coming with this joining, taking on this role and joining the startup. And also I was really intrigued by the startup itself too. So yeah, just, it with those two things in mind, it helped me lean more towards taking on the role.
Okay. And of course, the startup being located in Malibu,
Yeah, that kind
just down the road
down the road. Um,
in the technology space,
Yeah,
right?
and just a new industry that's new to me, like working with like the energy like field and just learning new everything was completely new to me, to be honest. So yeah.
So if you did go on the Eat, Pray, Love journey, let's rewind.
Okay.
Where would you be?
I would probably be in the middle of like jungle in Chiapas or Oaxaca right now.
Mexico?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mexico. Yeah. I had a lot of like, all these different areas I wanted to hit and just had my Excel sheets ready to go for what was in my itinerary.
Have you spent time in the jungle?
Not in Mexico. I've been into like tropical areas that had some jungle
Okay.
adjacent areas. But that probably would have been like the first, like a little bit more.
And with a different intent as
Yeah.
well, right?
Yeah.
Really go on your own soul journey.
Yeah, and it probably was also like the first time where I saw myself not having like not just taking 2 weeks out of the year to do this, right? And like really just not having a timeline as to when exactly I wanted to be back or needed to be back. So,
Amazing. Well, thank you. I recall she shared with me that she was about to take an Eat, Pray, Love journey. And I remember saying to you, well, why don't you just take it now?
I mean, looking at you kind of confused, like, sure.
Like you don't need to really go anywhere. And if you read the book, that's the point of the story.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, spoiler alert, that you don't need to go to India to
Yeah.
take a Eat, Pray, Love journey. Like you can have this experience anywhere, anytime,
Yeah.
right? Okay, great. So that was before. So maybe just walk us through maybe some of the themes, key takeaways over the month and, your experiences doing this kind of work that we do.
Yeah. How I see life, like any, current belief systems that I hold, I might be, holding me back in this way. Identifying areas where I feel are not serving me anymore. And it's been hard, a lot of these belief systems realizing that they've been ingrained in me from like a young age, or like some of them I didn't even realize I had, has been really eye opening as well. And then just kind of shifting a little bit more into, letting go of that and like where I want to go, and opening my perspectives into like different ways to view either life, money, work, friendships, relationships, and just like the universe. And so it's been really great. And that's such a short span. I feel like we've tackled a lot of things, and at least got like kind of like, the wheels going on, like, what areas I want to explore a little bit more.
What was what is one of the biggest beliefs though that like you uncovered about yourself that you're like, "What? Wait a minute." That you even realize
Ah,
that really yeah, really slapped you.
okay. One of the one really I don't know if necessarily I didn't realize it. I think part of me knew it, but one of the one that really slapped me was just like the work hard. You have to work hard to get ahead. And I think that was a belief that really um what's it called? That was a belief that really held me back in some areas, but also like the reason I held on to it so long was because it did propel me forward in others. So, working hard and putting in the hours and like working in corporate America and working my way up through corporate America and just seeing like the benefits that that reaped, and aligning that just reinforced that, right? The work hard and to get ahead, and never really reflecting on either like the sacrifices that I had to put in place for that, and or just like the relationships that were impacted by that, or any honestly just the toxicity behind it all too. um and I think, yeah, just taking the time to like talk about it and just like really outline the big picture, not just like climbing the ladder, just like everything that it took out of me. And all because I had this mindset of like you have to work hard to get ahead.
And the universe supported you with that, right? So you worked hard and then you had the like the external manifestations,
Hmm.
and that was your equation,
Yeah.
right? To life. And
Hmm.
it was a way of being. So when we spoke about that, I remember the call specifically, I I poked at you a little bit. I was like, hey, oh, wait a minute. Is that really true? And so what innately or what in you made it false or wanted to kind of release it as well? Like, is there a part of you that kind of knows that's just a belief that was passed down to you? Or like, if you just can maybe understand, like, how as soon as I said it, you were like, you knew something was wrong there.
Mhm.
It was like,
Yeah.
the red light went off.
Yeah.
So,
It was probably a combination of things. Part of it was reflecting on the things that I lost because of that, and things that, I guess carry some sort of regret for as well. I would say that's probably a big part of it, but also realizing that coming from like immigrant parents, that's the mindset that that sells them on the American dream. Like, gotta work hard, and then knowing that there's like cultural ties to that as to why I believe that, and like that's what I saw growing up. Um, yeah, I would say probably a combination of those two things.
and yeah, this is going to be like a little radical of a question, but um, being first generation and being of Mexican descent, do you feel that work hard is almost like a inferior kind of belief system, just like how the American model is set up?
I think it definitely can be. Yeah, I think it's a maybe a tool that's used to like, fill certain jobs by creating this mentality, um where like if you look also at like, people's educations, it's not always like validated here, right? Like coming from other countries, I like it's in previous roles I've met people who were engineers in their respective countries, but then coming here,
Mm,
they it's not accredited, or it's not um viewed as in the same value as like somebody that did it here in the States, and having to like, oh, but you know what, I'm gonna work my way up and do it from the scratch again.
right. Awesome. Thank you. So now a month later, um, how would you, let's say, how would you now look at where are you now with that kind of ethic or philosophy?
You know, I think work hard can mean a lot of different things,
Yeah.
right? I used to tie it a lot to time and efforts and hours. And I think now I see it more as like, being strategic, open to embracing new ways of thinking, new ways of executing, new ways of doing, and just you know, it doesn't necessarily need to mean that you have to put in hours and hours on like a 15-hour day. It can be also like encouraging the growth of others and helping like, delegate and helping create systems in place that are more efficient as well. And um yeah, it definitely has shifted in that sense. I
So
also
quality work
quality work, yeah.
over versus how many hours you clock
Yeah.
and the productivity, the deliverables,
Hmm.
but doesn't mean you can get it down to a shorter time span. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. Um, any other like key takeaways from this experience over the month?
You know what? One that is a little bit more, I think, new, and I'm still kind of like playing with my head about how, what it means and how I want to embrace it and explore it more is like jumping timelines in the way you see yourself. You made a comment where like, how great would it be if you started your day every day, 10 minutes of meditation, like, it sets you on this new path. And just knowing that like the decisions you make throughout your day, you do create your own destiny and you can, change the path you're on and just jump into a new reality just by making the decision of doing it. So I really want to spend more time exploring that, and that's more of a recent
Yeah.
thing.
So it sounds like cerebrally you understand that it resonates with you.
Mhm.
Science is showing it. Have you experienced it, do you think?
You know what? I want to say yes, I have, and just not really acknowledged it at the time.
Okay.
Um, and also like I think I've like studied it in different ways, but also never really like been able to like pinpoint it before.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah, we have some very cosmic conversations
Yeah.
on our calls.
Yeah.
So that's great. You touched upon it, but maybe you can speak to if you believe that we create our own reality.
Yeah, I do. I to meet certain people in your life. The universe aligns certain things for you. But I also think that being connected to that, you have the power to like kind of shift where you want to go, choose what you want to do, create the life you wanted for yourself by tapping into that.
So would you say that's a co-creation?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So again, we've been working together for a month.
Mhm.
The first phase is a letting go phase, right? We're letting go of the old self. So a lot of shedding, but have you seen any external kind of manifestations or anything shift in your world over the month?
Mm, yeah, I think part of a lot of them are like around like my relationship to like money and like the spending and like just how I feel. I'm trying to you know um be observant of like what I'm experiencing when and just be aware. So I think that's definitely been a shift in the last couple of weeks. Anytime I like find myself like, you know what, I actually feel really good about this. I'm like allow myself to indulge or allow myself to like tap into this inner child energy and just see the world with awe and through those eyes. And I really try to like pinpoint like what I feel when I'm doing that and just like, the positive and energy that I feel coming with that. And um, but also there's been times where I've been able to like pinpoint like any anxiety or stress that come up when I view things like, with a different lens. Like, like we talked about the old paradigm, maybe like through one of those lenses. And
Mm,
I'm able to kind of like be more self-aware of like what my body and what I experience in either situation.
gorgeous. So just kind of understanding where we're coming out of
Yeah.
and not really getting caught up with an old program
Yeah.
and reprogramming
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah. It's been really cool to see like when you lean one way or the other, like how you like you're able to at least be aware of what your body's experiencing.
Oh, and then you get to enjoy life.
Right.
What does that look like?
Balance.
So it just sounds like you're giving yourself more permission to spend money and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, yeah, and tap into different things. It's like, like you get to experience creativity when you go shopping. You get to experience this like, endless possibility like environment. And yeah, just giving myself permission and just being like kinder to myself also if I feel like I'm like not fully there yet.
Okay. Well, my burning question is there was a Chanel bag that came up
Yes.
very early on that you put in and it's dust cover and it went on the top shelf and it was like the good china, right? Like
Yeah.
only take it out for special occasions. And through our journey, you took it to a Sprouts, right? Okay, and you had fun with it. So since that though, has it come out
You know
to
what?
play?
I'm gonna go home and send you a picture. It's sitting on my coffee table just there, surrounded by like books and things, and it has probably like my lipstick and like old one of my cards in there. So I'll send you a picture when I get home. But
So it's having fun
it's
now.
having
It's
fun.
coming out of the
Yeah,
closet. Okay, so you're enjoying the Chanel bag.
I very much am.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
You know what? I guess one last thing would be I've really enjoyed getting to experience more of how do I say this? I think I mentioned this last time, just like the dreaming version of you, right? And just like what possibilities are out there and like opening myself up to that and just this little voice in my head that always told me that there's something more. I've really enjoyed tapping into that energy and
The
yeah,
dreamer.
the dreamer in me. Yeah,
Are you ready to be the dreamer?
I am.
Are
I
you?
am. I am.
You want to own the shit out of life?
I do. Yeah. No guilt, no shame. Do what makes me happy and
Unapologetic.
unapologetic. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, stay tuned because this is only 4 weeks collaborating and working together of just building a new paradigm for Paola. So thank you for joining for today. And
I almost like wanted to feel some guilt and I just couldn't. It felt so good. I'm like, what is wrong right now? Why don't I feel guilty? Myself annoyed with the weight itself of like, like so like it carried over into other things.
I see. And no, you wanted it to be happen right away. You don't have to wait and allow it to even be there. It's like make this happen. Haven't really done anything like this before, like bought such a big gift for, your family to go on this really amazing trip. So, and then you went for an amazing 6 hour shopping trip. Now I want to hear about how it felt to take that bag out, how comfortable you were. Or you like a Ferrari, like, don't go around the bags, little child.
Oh man, I wish I could say I didn't like even think about it, but no, I felt good. I was liking the outfit I had on and like it went with it, right? I was wearing my favorite like suede jacket I got a few years ago from Italy, and I was just like, you know what, I'm feeling, the Chanel, the Italian jacket that I had. I was, feeling I was feeling good. I was at Walmart, for instance. I remember for a split second thinking, I'm like, oh crap, here I am with a Chanel at Walmart. Like, how, like, and oh crap, make sure you don't like scuff it against the car or like as you enter, like things like that. So I still had that mindfulness of like, oh, I don't want to damage it. And yes, sure enough, when I went home and like put everything away and I was like organized myself, I did like take out everything from inside and like just check it to make sure it was okay and then put it away in its box and its dust back or whatever. But I did find myself like checking to see if it was okay.
love it. Okay. Am I trying to be Kim Kardashian, at Walmart, or like,
Oh yeah.
did you feel like you had something to prove, or did you feel like I'm my best extension of myself and I'm owning it and hello people?
Honestly, I felt a little insecure
Yeah.
that I don't know if I would like take this, like, if I'm going to visit some relatives in Mexico where resources are limited, and I just don't know if I would feel comfortable enough wearing certain things there.
Girl, that sounds like a lot of work. That sounds like you have to prepare. Like, what if you're going to go to Walmart, Nobu, and like Whole Foods all in one day, right? So it's like, are you going to bring a change of clothes and like, like it's almost like the toothpaste keeps coming out of the tube, right? So, and I love actually maybe that it worked out this way, that you got to spend more time with your family, immerse, and actually get to see more of it, right? That things that were passed down to you, and just like, and being back in Mexico and just like the culture, so things of that nature.
That came with that, and yeah, a lot of like this time here too. The universe has a great way of putting things together. And the type of person who, especially the last years of my life, a few years of my life, where I'm so sometimes can only get lost in the day to day, where I don't necessarily make time for the things that I want to do. So
Until now.
yeah, definitely. No, it does. I felt you called it out, I think, one session where it's just like the push and pull in me. And I think for a while I've been ready to like just fully go with it, versus like getting stuck in this push and pull of like, oh, I'm ready to explore the new belief systems, new notions, but then being pulled back um, with like, oh, but like getting sucked into either like the logical day-to-day stuff and like not having time, not wanting to make time, or not wanting to invest myself emotionally, mentally, physically. So yeah, I think I've been ready to say goodbye to that push and pull.
I love it. So you even said last time, you're like, wow, that's intimidating. And I'm in awe that like, there's only, we can only see like a fraction of the universe. So we're surrounded by this field of information. And then what's in this field, and everything's in this field. There's infinite possibilities. There's different versions of us if you study parallel universes, and then you could timeline jump, you can dip into these different.
It sounds good. I think the only resistance I find with it is like part of me feels like you're trying to escape the present, right? By like, but maybe that's the whole point, right? Like if something's not serving you in the present, the whole point's to like, embracing like what a different life would look like, so in a different timeline. I guess I've played with it a little bit before in my head, but not too much. And as I like kind of think about it now, yeah, I guess yeah, that's where the resistance I find is just like,
I love
something's
that.
not working. Yeah,
Escape the
yeah,
present. So what does that mean? Like not dealing with reality?
yeah, or yeah, well, not dealing with reality, not dealing with what is making you want to change something in the moment.
Knowing that reverse aging is part of this process as well. When you have a heart-centered life and you take care of yourself, understanding it explains kind of the hardware that is being built, as we call it, leveling up, but there's actual hardware. You're building new narrow pathways. That's what meditation does for us. We are literally, coming out of traumas, experiences, even from our ancestors. We're really breaking barriers, and we're creating a new ecosystem and a new paradigm, with new belief systems. But don't think that this is just in our head. We're literally creating we're overriding DNA. It's mind blowing, especially because science is proving it's real. So that's all I'm saying.
That is so, I mean, that's so cool to just even like, it's so cool to like, and the fact that science is starting to like kind of like, you know, prove it as well. I think there's probably been so many people who've like been talking about these things and like been off like, oh, you're crazy or whatever, you know, and just like, it's so cool to see like the possibilities out.
um, oh yeah, it's mind blowing. We're such a logical society. This is our gift. We just need this. Um,
I I actually have an aunt here who is probably mid 50s, right? But like we always kind of joke around. She's one of my mom's younger sisters that she thinks she's 20. And like she does her makeup, wears full on glam, has this zest for life, and like danced the whole night too at the wedding. And I was like, I actually ended up staying at one of my uncle's place, and we're talking, and I forgot what the comment was, but what I said is, oh, like I was like, oh no, my oh, we were talking about how she resembles our like one my great aunt, and like that's where her name comes from. And she's like, you'll he said something along the lines, you'll probably see the resemblance more as she gets older. And then I was like, oh no, she's never aging. Like, she's gonna be young forever. And it just like, yeah, it just like just reminded me of her. But like over centuries, like how many things have been explored and experienced by so many, and like, you know, just opening up yourself to that.
so how do you feel about the unknown and being the Magellan of your expedition on your
Uh,
hero's journey?
you know what? I feel actually pretty, I would say I feel pretty good about it in the sense that like I know there's so much good to come, and I know there's so many like cool like, you know, after like I'm hoping that I just like I can really take a lot of these learnings and open myself up to experiences to like kind of dig a little deeper. And I feel like that's going to bring a lot of cool people into my life. It's going to bring a lot of like experiences, laughter, dancing, crying, like, you know, grieving. I'm sure like, you know, I think with just thinking back of how like I've experienced certain things and like shifted my mind in certain ways and like all that good that came from it. And it makes me excited. I think it gives me more like in a way hope of like how much more is there to experience in this journey of ours. You know, I like this trajectory of like the chronological timeline, like, oh crap, now I'm in my 30s, like it's like a countdown, right? Like it's like a count, like, and so like I think if anything this just kind of like adds like an excitement, like I cannot wait to see what else I can explore, where else I, you know, like, so for me it's like a good thing.
I love it. And I have to say, after doing this work, I'm meeting the most vibrant 80-year-olds. No, seriously, I don't think we're ever supposed to like, well, you talk about your aunt.
Stop, yeah.
No, we're not. And yeah.
Magic, call it true. Call it magic.
It is a real funeral, I feel like. And you know, there's grief and there's sadness. It's like, you know, saying goodbye. So it's really gorgeous that you have really honored that and not taking it so lightly. It's like reflection. You know, not really like you, I know you've wanted to do this work, and you know, we're all tapped in and we have these experiences, but like the work that you're doing is just so really beautiful and amazing. And I know it takes a lot of courage. I mean, I sit and think about that struggle thing quite a bit. I've had to do a lot of work around like deserving sleeping in and like, is that going to make me money if I like take care of myself and my well-being? Yeah. I just want to see you explode, honestly, from this at your own level, of course. But I feel it in you. Does that resonate that you have, I don't know, there's something in you that even maybe just seeing life a little bit differently, where you can like I've been exploring a lot too, like the word magic, and like that's an old paradigm term, because a magic sounds so occultish. Magic sounds like very Harry Potter.
But what if like life was like that every day? Then it's not magic anymore. It's just a way of being. And from my experiences and others, it's like as we slowly let go of resistance of old beliefs and old paradigm, it's like that just becomes like a way of being, where you're like, you're just more in awe, and maybe like the universe shows itself like it defies reality a little bit.
Yeah. You know, I've always kind of like, I think even as a kid, like, you know, wanted to dream big. And I also always had this like inner calling to like explore and like what's out there and what's more. And I think sadly, like over time, that voice gets quieter and quieter. And I think, you know, I don't know, I almost want to say it's like a universal thing. Like we, you know, we all have it and we all like are born with it. And then like, you know, everybody dreams to be the astronaut, the president, and like all these things as a kid. And like the older you get, I feel like that voice just gets quieter and quieter. And I've been lucky where I've had experiences in my life, you know, in the last decade that have really tried to listen to that voice a little bit more, you know, and I think this is perfect example of that, you know, and just trying to like, you know, stop ignoring this thing inside of me, or like this voice inside of me that, you know, wants more and believes she is more, and just like, you know, really embracing that. And like, whether it's the magic that it becomes your everyday life or, you know, just like, and I'm hoping, you know, like this would inspire others too.
Like if you even if you jot down like, you know, maybe an exercise of like writing down all your achievements or your story, or, you know, just highlights of kind of like what you've accomplished, where you come from, and you look at it very objectively, is like, what if this was like a person you met, right? And you looked at it, I'm gonna tell you, your mind would be blown. Versus like you, like who you know, because we're so hard on ourselves, right? So if you kind of like travel, I mean, the volunteering, you just have amazing stories. And so if you really look at it from like a third person, you know, and like, who is this badass? Awareness. It's like everything can be magical.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Embracing like even in the last couple of years, like, you know, yoga and meditation and just like work-life balance was a big shift during COVID, and like putting themselves first. So I do, and like the power it brought, like so many companies changed the way they operate, right, to accommodate the shift. And like, because like there was power in numbers. So I do see like a collective shift.
But it's also because we can pick it up in the field, and it's never been in the field before.
Yeah. And it becomes easier to pick up down the line for others, because it's yeah. This was my post. Cut my hair. Quit my job, cut my hair, took a much needed break, and I had like UK, Spain, and because I just traveled for like between trades and color pop, I just traveled for like a month and a half maybe, and then I was like ready for 2022 adventures. And my friend commented, 2022 main character vibes.
Oh my god!
And I remember I still remember that, and I started and I like love that comment, and it's just like, yeah, it's a something we don't give ourselves enough, I feel like. And just like shifting into that like, you know, version of yourself and the way you see yourself, like, you know, you are the main attraction in your life, and you should always feel like the main character.
Are you ready to be seen? Do you feel like you're ready for that?
I think I need to take that leap of faith. And like, I want to. I want it, and I'm, you know, the analytical side of me will always like second guess myself. So I just want to like say goodbye to that version of me and not like fixate on that, and just be like, no, I'm ready. Let's do it.
What about being selfish? How do you feel about being selfish?
Oh, it's a rough one for me.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties in with like the guilt and the shame. That one's a rough one for me, but oh man, it's so rough for me because I have this like upbringing that like you do what's best for you and your family. For me to understand where this fear of being selfish comes in, or like that leads into like that guilt.
Leaving is seeing. This is like, I really, really want us to really focus on this as we start, especially when we move into the rebirth. And the believe, this is the hardest thing. We have to believe it before we